Yeah, so actually, this point about there being diversity in the right or the lack of it actually is a point that we keep coming across. It's an accusation that is made against us constantly, and this is something that should be refuted once and for all in a proper way, because this accusation actually comes from a group of people amongst whom you will not find any diversity of any kind. They are like some kind of a, Kushal and I were just discussing this yesterday on his podcast. They are like some kind of an Abrahamic cult almost. And if like you sort of dither on even a small thing, you get cancelled because you are not pure enough and that kind of a thing. So that exists in the left ecosystem very strongly. And as Kushal was also pointing out yesterday, they have only a diversity of faces. They do not have a diversity in terms of ideas. And as somebody who identifies themselves as the non-left, we know very well what they are all about in every field possible. I mean, like, that is a given. You will not have any doubt about where they stand on any particular issue. So that is the kind of the lack of diversity that exists on their side of the spectrum. Now, when it comes to our side of the spectrum, uh, what we sort of refer to as the right wing ecosystem or the dharmic ecosystem or the Indic ecosystem, however, whatever you want to refer to it as, we don't even have like a particular term that we can use, and that is precisely because of the kind of diversity that exists within our ecosystem, if you can call it an ecosystem at that. I mean, that itself is debatable. And you will not have any two
Yeah.
people agreeing on any issue under the sun, because you have like so many variations, facets of different kinds of perspectives on various issues within our system. And what I have always noticed is that there is no way in which you can define who we are in terms of a particular group. It's very easy to define us in terms of what we are not. We are not communists, we are not Islamists, we are not Congress, we are not left. We know what we are not, but to put a label on what we are is extremely difficult. I mean, the only sort of binding glue is that, everybody comes together and they want to do something good for India. They want to take India forward in some way. And they believe in an underlying civilization that we are all a part of. How they define that civilization, what it means to take India forward, what it means, what India itself means, all of that is things that are still discussed within our ecosystem. It's still deliberated, it's still debated upon. And that is why when a lit fest comes from our side of the ecosystem, you will find much more, much more intellectual content than you will find in a lit fest from the other side of the ecosystem, from the other ecosystem. I mean, it will be much more diverse by default. It will be much more engaging, stimulating intellectually by default. So this accusation, in fact, is exactly the opposite of what the ground reality is.